The sugya we spoke about last week was Tisha B'Nidcha. And I said last week that this week, B'Siyata D'Shmaya, we will also talk about Tisha B'Nidcha. Last week was Lamdis, and this week it's more Halacha L'Mais. Tisha B'Nidcha, we are makel, more lenient than Tisha B'Av, when it actually is the middle of the week on Tisha B'Av. The source, twice in Shas, Erevin Memalef Amid Beis, Tanis, Yud Beis Amid Aleph. Rabbi Elazar ben Reb Tzadok tells a story. Once Tisha B'Av fell on Shabbos, Nitchali Yom Rishon, V'achalnu v'shatinu, we ate and drank because it was our Yom Tov Shalanu Hoyu. They brought a korban eitzim to the Beis HaMikdash. And it is from this Gemara that we learn in Simetov Kuf Nun Tet Sif Tet. If a bris falls on Tisha B'Nidcha, the Baal bris eats, he doesn't fast. Mipnei sheyom tov shelo, it's his yom tov, his child. Mishnah Brura on this spot says, this heter includes the father and mother of the child, not only father, mother as well, even though the father has the mitzvah, not the mother, but it's the yom tov of the mother as well, and the moil and the sandik, not the other mechubodim, not the chekes, not kisser shel Eliyahu. Father, mother, moil, sandik don't fast if they had a bris, Tisha B'Nidcha. Mogan Avram, Sif Kot Yud Aleph says the minig is lahachmir, and not to eat. But the Mishnah Brura, Sif Kot Lametes and Sha'at Tzion writes, I didn't quote the Mogan Avram because all the other Akhronim disagree with him. Eliyahu Rabbah, Chai Odom, Sharat Shuva, they all quote the Shulchan Aruch. Some say the minig, the Mogan Avram quotes, is only minig in Turkey. Brings it from the Radbaz, from the Knesset Gdoila. The Mogan Avram was in Poland. Nevertheless, according to Shulchan Aruch, the Balabris, the Moil, the Sandik eat on Tisha B'Nidcha, based on the Gemara, Yom Tov Shalanu Hoyo. And that is the opinion of most Achronim. Do we find leniency beyond the realm of Sudas Mitzvah for a Choyle Lamoshel? So let me explain briefly. A Choyle Potam and Atzoim B'Tisha B'Av, even a normal Tisha B'Av, that's a Sif Mefurish and Tov Kuf Nun Daled. But how do we define a Choyle like a B'Tisha B'Av or other fast days? Poskim don't deal with this question, but in my Chuvas I wrote, it's reasonable to assume the only area in Halacha in which we find Agdora for a Choyle she'ein boi sakon is Shabbos, Shin Chof Ches Sif Yud Zayin. The Mechaber writes, Nofal Mishkav. The Ramah writes, Cholo Kol Gufoy. And I explained in my Chuvas contrary to what many others think. It's not a Machlokes that I'm on the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch writes Nofal Mishkav. How do we define Nofal Mishkav? I know some people, they won't get into bed kol oid nishmosam ba'apim. They are hyperactive, super active. You can't put them to bed until they just fall asleep. I know some other people, just give him an alibi. Just give him a good teretz and he'll be happy to be in bed all his life. His natural state is to be horizontal, not vertical. So what's Nofal Mishkav? Depends on relativity. The Ramah writes Chola Kol Gufoy. When you have a flu, when you have a high fever, you have this general feeling of malaise. You feel sick. It's not that you had a cut in your finger or a mild toothache. You feel sick. You can't function properly. That is Chola Kol Gufoy, and that is the other side of the same coin is Nofal Mishkav. It's reasonable to assume the same applies to the fast days, to Tisha B'Av. It's not every minor medical condition. You need really to be sick. Not a Chodesh Shesh B'Sakona, but you need to feel sick. Comes along the Shvus Yankev Chele Gimel, Siman Lamed Zayin, and the Tshuva was written 301 years ago, Tov Pei Aleph. And he says, this year is Tisha B'Nidcha, and I am makel for kol mi shechoyle ktsas. not really enough on a mishkav choylek tzas, or me'iberes sheyesh lo meichush. A pregnant woman that isn't feeling well. How much she's not feeling well? Impossible to define. Not feeling well. Shvus Yanka writes Tisha B'Av Nitche, they could eat and drink lefi atzoyrach. Marash Alevi, Chelik Beis Sima Beis disagrees. But Rabbi Kiva Eger quotes the Shvus Yankov in Tov Kuf Nun Daled, and so does the Mishnah Brura in Bi'alach. So Alochi Kemoisei. The predecessor of the Shvus Yankov is the Mogen Avraham himself. Tov Kuf Nun Daled Sif Kot Tes also quoted the Mishnah Brura Sif Kot Nun Daled regarding Yoledes Tach Shloshim. So the first that expands the heter of Yom Tiv Shalonu Hoyu beyond Sudas Mitzvahs the Mogen Avraham regarding Yoledes Tach Shloshim, Shvus Yankov, Choylek Tzas, Mo'beres Sheyesh Lo Meichush. And that is my psak. Some Gedolim say only after Chatzos, because of the Shvus Yankov learns this halacha from Bris Milah regarding Bris Shechanoch clearly says they fast ad Chatzos, then they daven Mincha Gedolah with Nachem with Anenu, and only then do they go to eat the Balei Simcha. So would the same apply to Choyla? And I say no, that's a mistake. When we're dealing with a Sudas mitzvah, why not wait till after Chatzos? Why not? Yom Tiv Shalcha, it's your Yom Tiv. You're not going to fast all day, but why lose Tfilas Atanis? At least fast at Chatzos. But this isn't reasonable by a Choyle or Maberes Shesh Lo Meichush. We're not sending them to eat because it's a Simcha, because of their health condition. So we won't burden them to wait till after Chatzos. To me, this is so poshut. Neither the Mogen Avraham, nor the Shvus Yankov, nor Rabbi Kiva Eger, nor the Mishnah Brura, four giants, none of them stipulates, none of them writes the condition only after Chatzos. Ein lacha raya gedola mizu. If this kula is only after Chatzos, then nimtzeu machshilim es arabim. And these are great poskim, they're not machshel es arabim. None of them writes that a yoledes or a muberes or a choyle that has a heter to eat on Tisha B'Av Nitche needs to wait till Chatzos. Stomam ki pirusham ve'ein lacho raya gedoyle mizu. So I quoted before, the Mogen Avraham says, that's not our minig, that the Balei Simcha eat. So would that also mean that you can be mekel be'achoyle? No, it does not mean that. First of all, I quoted the Mishnah Brura. Ein halacha k'Mogen Avraham, and the Balei Simcha could eat. But even if we do accept the minig of the Mogen Avraham, Masha Nagu Nagu. The Shvus Yankov was after the Mogen Avraham. So was the Mishnah Brura, so was the Rabbi Kiva Eger. They were aware of the shit of Mogen Avraham. Nagu sheloi lechol be'Bal Simcha. V'yafal piken itiru lechoila, ule me'uberes, ule yoledes. So regardless of whether the halachos k'Mogen Avraham or not legabe Bal Simcha, choylek tzas could eat. What does choylek tzas mean? If he feels fine, he just has a mild medical issue, I don't think he should eat. But if he has difficulty, he's not feeling well, he's not nofal mishkov, he's not cholokol gufoy, yesh lahokol, we don't need to be frommer than the greatest gedolim going back 300 and 400 and 200 years. Mogen Avraham, Shvus Yankov, Mishnah Brura, Rabbi Kiva Eger, they were erlachiyim. What about Avdolah? A man definitely should say Avdolah before he eats. Regarding women, big discussion on poskim. Shalosh Tshuvas Dvai Yoshua was one of the Gedolim in Eretz Yisrael. A Bel Zachosed Av based in Tel Aviv, Rabbi Yeshua Menachem Ehrenberg. I had the source of knowing Rav Ehrenberg many, many years ago when I was really a younger man. He was a sage, he was a Gaon in the style of Gedolei Galitzia, and he writes in Chelik Beis of his Tshuvas Siman Ayin Ei, Ma'olam lo yishamanu, anybody saying Avdol and Tisha B'Av, neither man nor woman, and that's a big chiddush. Men, of course, they need to make Avdol. Why not? Just like everybody makes Avdol Mitzvah Tisha B'Av, if you eat before that, Beheter, you need to make Havdalah. Regarding women, it's a more complicated question. Koives Chuvas, Rav Elioshiv. Chelek Aleph Simenun Zayin, we find a correspondence between Rav Elioshiv and his great son-in-law, Reb Chaim Kanievsky. So we're still in Shnasa Evel of Reb Chaim and Rav Elioshiv's Yortzeit. 10th Yortzeit was just last week. Reb Chaim writes, Kama v'kama svoras that women should not make Havdalah, and Rav Elioshiv rejects them all, and he says the minig is, and that is the halacha, whoever eats on Tisha B'Av, man or woman, need to make Havdalah. Why would a woman be different than a man? Svek Sveike. Reish Tzadik Vav Siv Ches, we find two shittas shechanoch where the women b'chlal or chayev b'Havdalah. Yesh oimrem, it's a mitzvah say shazman gromen noshim p'turois. Yesh oimrem, quoted in the Beis Yosef extensively, kol sheyeshno b'shomeh yeshno b'zochar. And just like we learned from this drosha that women are chayev b'kiddush, Havdalah and Kiddush are two sides of the same coin. Chayovas b'Kiddush, hu adin la'Havdalah, and others write, no, it's only Kiddush. Havdalah, milta achrita. Then we have the Machloikes Taza Magen Avraham. Im naniach, if we assume that Noshim are potor, Ashkenazi woman could still say a brocha. Minag Ashkenaz, keneged minag Svarad. There are more paskins, women could say a brocha mitzvah seishas mangroma. The Taz and the Bach say that is only when she makes a brocha on a mitzvah. But if the brocha is all there is to the mitzvah, then it's a brocha levatol. In my tshuvas, I explained the Taz, but I won't do it right now because it's not really the sigur we're dealing with. Today we're dealing with Tisha B'Av Shechal B'Shabbos and not with Mitzvah Seishas Mangroma. That is one suffix. And then we have Shittas HaRamban. The Ramban has an amazing chiddush. The Ramban writes, Tisha B'Av Shechal B'Yom Aleph, or Nidchel Yom Aleph, there is no Havdalah at all. Not Motzei Shabbos, not Sunday night. There is no Havdalah. The basis of the Ramban is, you could make Havdalah in the middle of the week, but that is only tashluming. And because Motzei Tisha B'Av, you don't make Havdalah because you can't say Havdalah Lakois, only Havdalah B'Tefillah, then there is no tashluming. The Ramban also stresses an interesting knach. And he says, Mitchilet tiknu chachumam Havdalah B'Tefillah, Kishehe when they became more wealthy, tiknu Havdalah Lakois. Tisha B'Av, no one is wealthy. Tisha B'Av is also B'chile V'B'Shtiya Chamishu Inuyim. We're all Evyonim, we're all Avelim. And therefore, Tisha B'Av, Shechal Mitzvah Shabbos, there is no Havdalah. Ein halacha kedivrei Ramban, the two in the Shulchan Aruch Lehedya, Noktu, there is Havdalah Sunday night, but maybe it's a svek sveike. One suffix where the Noshim are potter, and maybe they even are prohibited from making Havdalah. The other shitta, there is no Havdalah b'Tisha B'Av Nidche. But because both of these shittas nidchu min halacha, I don't think we could be dana din svek sveike. But this is a big discussion between Reb Chaim, Rav Elioshiv, and many other Megidolei Hazman. Shara Meishav, Madur Hei Chelek Aleph Simen Alametes, brings that in his days there was a Moira Hara, Tisha B'Av Nidche. They had a bris, and he paskined you could make a Suda. Shara Meishav attacks him, and he made so many mistakes, writes the Shara Meishav. The Magen Avraham, the Mishnah Berurah say, the Baal Simcha could eat, but don't make a Suda. It's only the parents, the Moira, and the Sandik, and no one else. You don't make a Suda l'Rabbi. Shalom Eshev writes the same. Shalom Eshev also writes, that Poisek said you don't need to make Havdalah, and of course you do need to make Havdalah. And then the question comes up, on what should they make Havdalah? I wrote my opinion in various different sources. Be'ikar Minchas Osher Zmiras Shabbos is the smallest sefer I wrote. Relatively small sefer, but I love it. It's on Zmiras Shabbos, Parparoi, Svortim, but the second section of the sefer is Halacha. Not regarding Malachas Shabbos, only Berurei Halacha regarding Zmiras Shabbos, Sudas Shabbos, Kiddush, Havdalah, Lecha Mishnah, Oinik Shabbos, Ner Shabbos. And I made my opinion clear. There is no Chamar Medina today, nothing. Because we live in an age of abundance and there's such a huge variety. Everybody drinks something else. So therefore you cannot make Havdalah. Neither Kiddush Rabbah, onion, wine or grape juice. Wine, not recommendable. Grape juice, I think, yes. Suda mafsekes also babosa v'biyayin. The briskerov is mechadish. Tisha B'av, there is no isar of bosa v'yayin. Why? Because Chazal didn't answer. Because Tisha B'av, everything is also. All food, all drinks. So there is no tesefes chumr and bosa v'yayin. It's a din of Suda mafsekes, not in Tisha B'av. Briskerov also added on a chiddush. Suda mafsekes is a din of oinain. Oinain asur b'bosa v'yayin. Tisha B'av is avelus. Oval has no prohibition, no isar for bosa v'yayin. I still think it's a chiddush. Ibididi Italia. And this is an akuda which is very interesting in the philosophy of halacha and the ashkofa of halacha. It is true. We don't find chachomim asar Tisha B'av bosa v'yayin. We can't find, because everything is also. But wouldn't it be a kal v'choima? Im besuda mafsekes asar bosa v'yayin. Would it go without saying that the Issa applies to Tisha B'av as well? But Chum didn't answer. Lididi, it's a huge suffix. And I would be noite l'chumra. It's true the Chum didn't answer, but would there be a need to answer? Wouldn't it be a poshet kal v'choima from Sodom Mafsekes? However, Yayin Megitoi, which is Mitzanovim, no foment, no alcohol, Miyakaradin mutar b'Sodom Mafsekes. There are more rights. It's only a minhag la'achmir, just like the minhag of Shavuot Shechal b'Tisha B'av, Tisha Sayomim. That minhag doesn't override Havdalah. And you can't make Havdalah on anything else because there is no Chama Medina, and therefore, grape juice. That is what we make Havdalah on. So a man that needs to eat on Tisha B'av is mavdal on mitzanov and grape juice. A woman that needs to eat on Tisha B'av because of the sveik, as I mentioned before, the proper minhag would be the husband should make Havdalah and be moitzi his wife. And be moitzi himself as well. Because if he is not yoitza, loho ilu chachomim b'tekantam, it'll be the same sofek brocha levatollah. But if he is yoitza, he definitely could be moitzi her memanavshach. But then moitzoi Tisha B'av, he won't say Havdalah again unless he needs to be moitzi other family members. It still will be somewhat of a problem. So the mavdal doesn't need to drink the wine himself. And that is a basic rule by Evi Kosher Brocha. So when we have a bris and Tisha B'av, you give a child to drink, but the child needs to be a Giya Lechinuch. And the one that drinks your Kiddush or your Havdalah needs to be someone that was Yotze Kiddush v'Havdalah. So we still have the suffix whether Noshem Achayavos. But regarding this specific halacha, of course we could rely on the shit of Rav Poiskim, Noshem Chayavos v'Havdalah. And therefore I think the best way would be the husband makes Havdalah, he's moitzi his wife, he's moitzi himself, she is the one that will drink the grape juice. V'hakol al mekoyma yavai b'sholem. He just needs to understand that Mitzvot Tisha B'av, he won't say Havdalah again because he was already Yotze, unless he needs to be Mitzi other family members. So the topic today was Tisha B'av v'nidcha. Chasam Sofer al Torah Parshas Devarim has a fascinating discussion, and he asks, the last week I quoted the Navi, and I quoted it 1,000,000 times. Ktsas b'derech guzma. Tzayim Raviv, Tzayim Chamishi, Tzayim Shvi, Tzayim Asiri, Yiu lebeis Yehuda l'sosan l'simcha l'mayedem toivim. There's some Sofer thinks, and he deals with the question, Yosed Lavai, Tisha B'av Shechari is b'Shabbos, will it be nitcha for Sunday or not? You can't fast Shabbos, so it needs to be nitcha. However, you could dance Shabbos, you could sing Shabbos, you could rejoice Shabbos. Yom Tov falls on Shabbos, it's not nitcha. Yom Tov is Shabbos, come together. Simchi kfula v'mechuperes. Some Sofer wants to prove that even L'Osad Lavai, Tisha B'Av Shechali is B'Shabbos is Nidcha L'Yom Aleph. And I say, and I'm very convinced about this Chiddush, and I don't want to hear any arguments. I think L'Osad Lavai, not only when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos, each and every year we will have 2 days Tisha B'Av. And we will rejoice and sing and dance and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu 2 days. Rabbi Yochanan, Tanas Chav Tesam Adalav says, if I would be in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, I would suggest a fast day. The day of mourning should be a Asor above. Bo nisraf rubo shel heichel. The Chachamim didn't agree. And they said that Chalta de Poranuta Adifa. It's obvious in the Sugi, it's either Tisha B'Av or Asor above. It can't be both. Can't be both. Because fasting 2 days is a zakona, as I said the beginning of this year. But why not sing and dance 2 days? We have 2 days Rosh Hashanah. We have the Yom Tisha and Shel Goliath and Chutz La'aretz. The entire world will rejoice 2 days Tisha B'Av. Because B'Tshiyah B'Av etzitu et ha'ur b'Eichel b'Asor B'Av nisaf rubo shel Eichel. Enough reason to dance and sing 2 days. So the Zohar explains Ki Yadua, 2 days Rosh Hashanah, one is Dina Kasha, one is Dina Rafia. So I don't know, when we will have 2 days Tisha B'Av, which day will be Simcha Kasha and Simcha Rafia? I don't know. But I think there should be 2 days. Megillah Daf Hey, the Gemara says, Bikesh Rebbe la'akor Tisha B'Av. Rebbe wanted to uproot Tisha B'Av and make it away. And the Gemara is mefarish. We're dealing with Tisha B'Av Shechali as Shabbos, and Rebbe wanted to argue given Shenitcha Nitcha. His opinion was rejected. Tisha B'Av Shechali is Shabbos, we fast on Sunday. In Avodas Yisrael, Parshas Masai, Avodas Yisrael is the Sefer of the Heilige Kosher and Tzemagen. He quotes the Chozeh Melublin. And the Chozeh Melublin said, Bikesh Rebbe la'akor Tisha B'Av. When Tisha B'Av fell on Shabbos, and Shabbos overpowers Tisha B'Av, and that proves that Simcha comes before Avelus. Even when the Beis HaMikdash was Chorav, Rebbe hoped in the koyach of Shabbos Kodesh, Bikesh la'akor Tisha B'Av la'olam voed. He tried, he fought, and he hoped that when Tisha B'Av fell on Shabbos, it'll be an opportunity to do away with Tisha B'Av and to bring Moshiach Tzedkeinu. No more fasting, no more mourning, no more Avelis, no more Tzam. V'lo yolsu biyodoi. And the way this is sort of Masbe Ba'amkes Yisoid and Shlodevorim. Nobody could uproot Tisha B'Av besides HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. So let's hope and pray. Let's hope and daven. Sheyevakesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'akor Tisha B'Av. When we rejoice on Tisha B'Av Shechaliyas b'Shabbos, and Shabbos overwhelms and overrides Tisha B'Av, let us hope that finally the time has come. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yevakesh la'akor es Tisha B'Av. And we should be zoiche b'kora b'yameinu. L'divrei hanovi tzom haravi'i v'tzom hachamishi, tzom hashvi v'tzom ha'asiri, yiu lebeis Yehuda l'sosar ha'simchu l'moyedim tovim. So all my dear Talmidim and friends, a happy Listige Tisha B'Av.